Good morning, students. Today's topic is reported questions. By the end of this class, the student should identify a direct or reported question, match a direct question with the reported one, change a question from direct to reported. At first, we should know the types of direct questions so we can change them later into indirect or reported questions. The first group is questions that start in a question word. Question words such as who, where, how, when, or what. For example, who are you going with to the stadium? The second group of questions are questions that start in an auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verbs are be, do, or have. For example, do you like cheese? The third group of questions that start in a modal verbs. The modal verbs such as can, may, will, etc. An example of a direct question may be, will you help me? May I open the door? Etc. The fourth group of questions are indirect questions. They are introduced with I doubt, I wonder, I want to know. Which are some general rules about reported questions? The reporting verbs are ask, inquire, wonder, or want to know. But they should be in simple past tense. The verb in the sentence goes one step back in time, just like in statements. The same changes happen with the pronouns, the time expressions, just like in statements. The verb is in the affirmative in reported questions. The question mark and expressions just like please, oh, well, in direct questions are omitted in reported questions. Let's give some examples for every type of direct question. The first group of questions, the questions that start in a question word. Where did you go? He asked. He asked where I had gone. Second group of questions that start in an auxiliary verb. Do you care about him? He asked the girl. He asked the girl if or whether she cared about him. Because in the group of questions that start in an auxiliary verb, in reported questions, they are introduced with the conjunctions if or whether. The third group of questions that start in a modal verb. For example, can you drive? Larry wanted to know. Larry wanted to know if or whether I could drive. If or whether in Albanian, nëse. Well, in this case, you have can. And I said that they go one step back in time. Let's have a look at the other modal verbs. How do they change from direct question to reported question? Will changes into would. Can changes into could. May changes into might. For example, may you open the door? The teacher asked the student. Then in reported question, this question changes into the teacher asked the student if he could or might open the door. Shall changes into should. Must changes into must or had to. Needn't changes into didn't need to or didn't have to. But when the question in direct question has got these words such as would, could, used to, mustn't, should, might, ought to, or had better, They don't change in reported questions. Indirect questions are used to ask for advice or information. They are introduced with "Could you tell me?" "Do you know?" "I wonder." "I want to know." "I doubt," etc. And the verb is in the affirmative. If the indirect question starts with "I want to know," "I wonder," or "I doubt," the question mark is omitted. Example, a direct question. What's the weather like? Indirect question. Do you know what the weather is like? Let's practice. Exercise number 6, Unit 8C. Report the sentences. 1. What is the weather like? Tom asked Jane. Tom asked Jane what the weather was like. Can you lend me your raincoat? Bob asked Linda. Bob asked Linda if or whether she could lend him her raincoat. How did he manage to survive? Julia asked Sam. Julia asked Sam how he had managed to survive. 4. Can we leave a bit earlier? He asked me. He asked me if they could leave a bit earlier. 5. When did it start raining? She asked me. She asked me when it had started raining. 6. Give me a towel, please, she said. She said to give her a towel. 7. Don't go near there, the teacher said. The teacher ordered not to go near there. 8. Put some sunscreen on, she told Anne. She told Anne to put some sunscreen on.